Mr. Anderson. Surprised to see me?
So now he's found a way to copy himself.
Now there's more than one of them.
A lot more. What happens if I fail?
Then Zion will fall.
They need you.
I need you.
What if the prophecy is true? What if tomorrow the war could be over? Isn't that worth fighting for? Isn't that worth dying for?
What's going on, everyone? Great Talon here, and today we're going to talk about The Matrix Re-fucking-loaded, baby. The Matrix Reloaded. So, it's almost time, folks. It's almost time for me to see The Matrix Resurrections. I'm hearing very mixed things. Either you're going to love it or you hate it, a la The Last Jedi. I am not a fan of that, because when they said that about The Last Jedi, I ended up hating it. So, with that being said, let me just deep dive into Matrix Reloaded real quick. So this is the sequel. It picks up 3 years. Well, I mean, the movie actually came out 3 years after the first Matrix. While the first Matrix took about a decade to write, this was very rushed, and that was the problem with the Matrix Reloaded and Resurrections. While they are enjoyable films, don't get me wrong, all these years later, they are not as fleshed out as the original Matrix was. The Matrix originally was an intellectually advanced and superior movie, whereas Reloaded and Revolutions are just dumb fun popcorn flicks with a little bit of annoyances here and there. We're going to get into them right now. So, still, the Matrix movies still have, even with well, first we're going to say it has very dated, the CGI, folks, especially with the Thousand Man Smith fight, is very, very, very dated. I cannot stress that enough. The CGI is just atrocious at times to even look at. It's very cringeworthy in this movie. Again, this movie came out about 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago. Very, very cringeworthy CGI. But with that being said, also, it still has well-choreographed fight scenes. They have one-on-one fight scenes that are not CGI, but outside of that Smith fight, that are very, very well done, very well choreographed, cool one-on-one fights. Very, very well done still in all. There is still a kick-ass soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. I adore the soundtrack. One soundtrack piece that sticks out amongst the rest has to be the chase scene on the highway when they're outrunning the Ghost Twins, as well as the the agents and whatever, that they have the keymaker. They're trying to get them to safety or whatever, so we can open the door to the source and all that shit. So that's really good. That was really cool. Really love that chase scene on the freeway. That is probably the best part of this movie, hands down. But also, with that being said, I want to talk about the twins. The twins are cool new villains. They're like these ghost-looking, these albino, fucking twins with dreadlocks. They really are very, haunting. They speak in unison. It's really cool. However, with that being said, the twins program concept is not as fleshed out enough as I would like it to be. I want to know how they can go transparent. How they can go invisible and fucking go through objects like fucking ghosts and shit. I want to know what kind of program are they? They were just like, oh yeah, these are the twins. Deal with it. And I'm like, I want to deal with it more. I want you to tell me why these people can go through inanimate objects. Why can they go through solid matter? How? Tell me, movie. Tell me, movie, how? Other than that, yeah. So. There is so basically the story of this movie, before we get any further, it's just it picks up after the first Matrix left off. So Neo, he's now freeing all these people's minds who were in the Matrix to get them to join the Zion army, the last free city of the humanity, from the machines. He goes to see the Oracle again. She tells him the journey of the one. He's now the one, obviously. Ends at the source, and he has to find his way to the source. So he has to go get the MacGuffin, who's the keymaker, and he takes him to the source, and in between a bunch of shit ensues. Shit goes down, and he sees the architect at the end of the movie, and he tells him that pretty much everything is just a bullshit lie, made up just so it could be another form of control. Blah, blah, blah. End game, whatever. We'll talk. That's pretty much the gist of it. Other than that, let's get back to the pros and cons. So, so in the beginning of the movie, they take you to Zion. You see Zion full frontal. It's pretty cool. Nice little city, pretty cool for whatever, the fate of humanity, whatever the hell lies in them, the last city of humanity. You get to see little Zion a little more fleshed out, which is cool, rather than just him talking about it in the first movie. However, with that also being said, I just gotta say that they have this like really like creepy porn like dance party, and where everybody's like half naked and they're like dancing to this like booty popping club techno beats, and it's just very strange to watch them. I mean, it's kind of like they want you to get turned on by it. That's why I'm saying if you're watching this in a movie theater or with people, it's like, do they want me to like start putting my hand down my pants to this? Like, like, do they want me to start like getting? And that happens in tandem while Trinity and Neo are like fucking their brains out, and you see their ass and shit, and they're all sweaty and everything. I'm like, this is like a softcore porn, right? Like this movie just became a softcore porno. Like, okay, all right, movie, I see what you're doing. Other than that, speaking of that, so another thing that I got angry about is Monica Bellucci is not my girlfriend in this movie. So Monica Bellucci's in this movie. She's like plays Persephone, the Merovingian's wife, and we'll get to him in a little bit in a sec. But she's like ridiculously stupid, hot Italian woman in this movie who's not my girlfriend, and it makes me very sad because she's like ridiculously hot in this movie. The Merovingian is like her husband, quote unquote. He's like this program. He's like this cunning linguist. He wrote all like the language programs and whatever else he wrote out there. And he's just like an asshole. He's one of the antagonists that Neo has to try and like pump for information. He doesn't want to give it up. Where the keymaker is, they end up in a really cool fight scene, which before the chase scene happens. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That happens. There's a lot of cool fight scenes. Like I keep saying, folks, there's a lot of cool fight scenes in this movie that go down. I really enjoy them. And other than that, let's get to the really bad stuff, the cringe stuff. So the cringe stuff here. So the end of the movie, like Trinity, all throughout the movie, Neo has like visions of Trinity like dying, like premonitions, kind of like if you ever seen Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin has these premonitions of Padme dying in childbirth. He has premonitions of her dying on a mission or whatever. They start to come true. Everything kind of comes to fruition, but instead of Anakin letting Padme kind of die, Neo fucking, in the most bullshit of bullshit moments, Neo reaches inside of Trinity to pull out the fucking the bullet, and then he jump starts her back. So in the first movie, we had the power of love bringing someone back from the dead. Now in this movie, we have someone just like reaching inside of her, like ethereal, like a ghost, reaching the bullet, grabbing the bullet out, and then fucking using the Jesus Matrix computer magic to bring her back to life. I'm sorry, it was cool to see, but it just made absolutely fucking no sense, folks, at all. Not to the simple minds, no, not at all. Even to the advanced minds. But anyway, so the movie does end with a bullshit Fade to Black like cliffhanger that kind of pissed me off. When I went to go see this movie in theaters when I was 15 years old, folks, and that fucking cut to black shit would said to be concluded on there. Me and my friends who I was with at the time from high school, we all jumped up. We scared the shit out of the people behind us because we all went, "What the fuck? Like, what the fuck are you trying to pull, movie?" Like, And I still kind of get angry when I see that screen now. It's like PTSD for me. It's like a little trigger. And last but not least, the architect scene breakdown is way too convoluted. Way too convoluted. Like that last like 5 minutes or so with the architect was just way too unnecessary. He was using all these big words that you had to try and comprehend. Yeah, I understood them. Was it necessary? No, it wasn't necessary at all. And Neo's final choice of love over logic should have doomed them all, but instead it just sets up a third and forced final movie just to milk whatever the fuck is left out of this franchise that should have really ended with the first movie, to be honest, if we're being really honest. As much as I kind of did, with that being said, I'm kind of a hypocrite because part of me really enjoys Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, which is why I'm kind of like on the fence here. I'm like going back and forth. But if I had to like say and score the Matrix Reloaded on a scale of 1 to 10 in 2021 in this day and age, yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's still a good movie. It has not without its flaws. If you don't think too much and you pop that popcorn and you shut your brain off just for a little while, you're going to get more out of this movie than you anticipated. But if you are a thinking man and you overanalyze things, at times I'm like that, you're not going to have a good time here, folks. I'm sorry, but for me, it's still a 7.5. It's still a good movie. It's an enjoyable ride. I was engaged for the most part watching this movie. I was like invested, even though the silliness ensued with some parts of this movie. But overall, I thought it was an enjoyable experience for the most part, without a few hindrances here and there. So again, with that being said, that is my review of The Matrix Reloaded. Next up is The Matrix Revolutions, which I'm about to pop on momentarily. And then I'm going to actually do The Animatrix. So I'm going to review all those little short Animatrix short stories as well. I found that movie as well in my pile. So yeah, I look forward to that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch everybody next time. Thanks, as always, for stopping by.